All right, let's just get right into it. Welcome to This Explainer, where today we are tackling what is honestly the ultimate hidden puzzle in the supply chain, yard operations. We're talking about that physical space right outside your warehouse stores. And as we're about to see, this area is absolutely the critical hinge of logistics efficiency. Because you've got this wild paradox in the industry, right? It goes like this. A warehouse can have world-class automation inside and still lose hours outside. I mean, think about the reality of that for a second. You could literally invest millions in robotics, AI, flawless sorting inside your four walls, but if just one trailer goes missing out in the lot, or a truck shows up late, or a radio call gets dropped, boom, your entire dock plan completely collapses. It's a pretty sobering reality check. So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll be covering 1. The hinge of logistics. 2. A chain of small decisions. 3. Where the yard breaks down. 4. Fixing habits before software. And finally, 5. The role of technology. Okay, kicking things off with Section 1, the hinge of logistics, defining the space and its business value. Before we can go about solving the puzzle, we have to actually define the space. Yard operations are basically all the activities controlling the trucks, the trailers, drivers, parking slots, and dock scheduling just outside a warehouse or a production site. It's the exact spot where a theoretical transport plan turns into actual physical flow. Honestly, the best way to look at it is like a handshake. It's the physical handshake point between transport and the warehouse. When that handshake is smooth, the freight just moves, no drama. But when it's broken, literally everyone in the supply chain feels the pain. Moving right along to Section 2, a chain of small decisions. Let's look at what actually happens in a logistics yard every single day. So how does that physical handshake happen? It's actually highly methodical. Step 1 is truck arrival and gate processing. The driver hits the gate, confirms their booking, and gets their instructions. Step 2 is trailer parking and yard allocation. And this is crucial because a poor allocation here guarantees long, frustrating searches later on. Step 3 is dock assignment and loading coordination, basically matching the right trailers to your limited dock doors. And then Step 4 is departure and exit control, making sure the right trailer leaves with the right paperwork. A successful day is really just an unbroken chain of these small, specific decisions. And if we want to manage that physical flow, we have to track it. This table essentially translates those physical steps into hard numbers. Up at the gate, you want to monitor check-in times because, well, that reveals your entry bottlenecks. Out in parking, keeping an eye on slot occupancy is what prevents yard congestion. For the trailers themselves, knowing the exact location status improves tracking and eliminates those dreaded blind spots. Over at the docks, watching door utilization protects the loading plans. And finally, at the exit, tracking total dwell time gives you a fantastic read on the overall quality of your flow. These are literally the vital signs of a healthy yard. Which brings us to Section 3, where the yard breaks down. Let's talk about the small gaps that compound into massive congestion. Let's be real here. Yards get sick. And these right here are the typical villains of our story. We're talking about a total lack of real-time visibility, crippling yard congestion, miscommunication between the gate and the warehouse teams, super inefficient use of space, manual, paper-based processes, and completely unpredictable arrival times. You know, most failures in a yard aren't these massive explosive events. They're subtle. A handwritten paper log creates a reading error. An abandoned empty trailer eats up a premium parking slot. A traffic delay messes up the entire dock schedule. It's these tiny gaps, and they pile up incredibly fast. Has anyone seen Trailer 281? Come on, if you work in logistics, you have absolutely heard this yelled across an office. Or maybe you've yelled it yourself. It is so frustrating. And why does it happen? 9 times out of 10, it's a tiny manual error. Someone types one extra dash or misses a digit in the system, and suddenly you have literally hidden a 53-foot metal box in plain sight. And now you've got people wandering the lot for hours just looking for it. All right, Section 4, fixing habits before software. Because true improvement has to start with standardizing processes. We obviously need a fix here. But listen, you cannot repair a fundamentally broken system just by throwing expensive software at it. You just can't. You have to standardize your processes, improve your scheduling, and start using real-time data to make early decisions. You have to build foundational habits first. For example, use appointment windows so you can absorb traffic variations without causing a massive pileup. Or set a hard rule. If a priority trailer hasn't moved in 30 minutes, a supervisor gets flagged immediately. You fix it before the angry customer calls. The discipline has to come first. And finally, Section 5, the role of technology, how we make that discipline easier to maintain. Because once you actually have that baseline discipline, how do you scale it? That's where the tech comes in. And the data backs this up entirely. Look at the 2026 automation survey. It shows that 58% of companies are now using barcode scanners for their yard operations. Mobile data capture isn't the future anymore. It is officially mainstream. Tools like barcode scans, self-service gate kiosks, RFID tracking, they take all the heavy lifting out of those standardized habits we just talked about and make data capture pretty much automatic. But the ultimate goal of implementing that technology is integration. A disconnected yard is basically running on separate screens, manual checks, and frankly, a lot of guessing. The guard at the gate admits a truck, but the warehouse planner inside has no idea it's even there yet. Integrated systems completely flip that script. They connect the gate events directly to the warehouse management tasks and the dock schedules. The goal isn't just buying more software. The goal is creating one single version of the truth across your entire facility. So, the most natural question to ask yourself right now is, do you actually need a system to manage your yard operations? Look, if you're running a very small site, hey, maybe a clipboard still works for you. But the second you start dealing with growing complexity, we're talking multiple gates, temperature-controlled zones, high volumes of inbound and outbound freight, those manual methods are going to collapse. They always do. At that stage, getting a structured digital system in place isn't just a nice-to-have, it's an absolute necessity if you want to maintain any sense of control. Which brings us to our final takeaway today. Great yard performance feels quiet. Seriously, when your yard is truly optimized, all that daily drama just disappears. Trucks arrive on time, drivers know exactly where they're supposed to go, trailers are instantly locatable, and your warehouse teams actually trust the dock plan. The outside starts operating with the exact same precision as the million-dollar automation sitting inside the building. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this to think about. If you stepped outside your facility right now, would you hear the quiet, steady hum of a perfectly synchronized machine? Or would you just hear the loud, frantic chaos of a broken system? Think about that. Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.